you gonna say? I feel like I interrupted you. You're saying something.
Nothing, man. No, not a
how are you doing?
thing, dude. Good, man. I'm like, excuse me. I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a lot. It's like
Life?
Promoting. No, life I'm okay with. Like,
no, you mean just promoting the special?
Promoting the special is like, and it's it's a lot of podcasts. It's good and it's fun. I'm just like, mush in my brain.
Have you done any big ones that haven't come out yet?
No, I don't think so. Like those, because they book so far in advance that like it all was kind of happening quickly in terms of getting it out. So like we might be drunk or like soders or like those are coming later, like probably like early next year or something. Okay. But no, I mean everyone was like very like especially like you do stuff like this, you're like, oh, what is, I don't know what people's schedules are, short notice. Are people going to be like, no, or just not get back to me? Pretty much everybody did. I don't know. I probably messaged like 14, 15 people, and they all got back to me, which was cool. Yeah. So, no, it's good, man. And it's fun. I'm just like, I'm at like the tail end for this week. This is like, so I'm just like kind of operating on a slower speed right now. Get that. But like, yeah, man. Don't sweat it. Did it start?
Did what start? I just started recording.
You just kind of start.
Because then I can just start it wherever I want. Yeah.
That's great, man. No, I prefer that rather than like...
I don't... Because I'm like, there have been episodes where I've been like, hey, what's up? My guest today. But I'm like, who is that for?
It's for nobody, and it takes you out of it. Like, the people listening are like, we're good.
Yeah, it's because and it's like a relic of radio. Right. Because I'm like, the episode, they clicked on it because they know who the guest is.
Of course.
Like...
or they know the guest, or they're a fan of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the two things. And like, but even if they've never heard of the guest, it's the title. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, totally. If you're joining us now, like, this isn't fresh air,
Yeah, man. I think this was the only one when you sent me, like, the invite or whatever, where I was like, oh, I don't have to, cool, I know what this, you know what I mean? Like, where other ones I'm like, oh, I for the most part, you're like, I'll probably just be talking to a friend for an hour. Mm-hmm. But yours is very upfront about, like, honestly, I thought you were just asking me. I was like, wow, Adam, you're pretty brash as a person. But, my God, man. Okay, I guess we can get into it. But, no, I prefer that just, like, you're just kind of talking. It's just way more comfortable, especially as a guest, because, like, I mean, look, Freed does this, and I love Freed, and, he's one of my good friends. Okay, But, like, Jared will be like, hang on for a second. Like, we'll be talking before. It's, like, just a conversation. I'll be like, hang on for a second. And then I kind of like what he does. I don't know if he does anymore, but it's like he would extend his hello so much to the audience where then you have to kind of just sit there and you're like, okay, let's get done with this intro so now we can go back to just being people again. But his was like a play on what it is, so it's funny. But other ones where like you have to break from like the natural conversation and the rhythm of that to be like 1 second, and then there's just like an intro to camera for whatever this goddamn thing is. And then they go back to you, and you're like, you just ruined whatever sincerity of the moment we had, potentially.
Well, and the whole thing that I always liked about podcasting is that it's just like capturing an interesting conversation. Yeah. And the first podcast that I ever listened to was Pete Holmes, and so many of the episodes start with their talking, and then the guest goes, are we recording?
Totally.
And I'm like, that's how you do it.
I prefer that.
Yeah, so you sort of lull them into a false sense of security. And then I pounce on, I'm going to ask you some real gotcha questions.
I thought you'd be a gotcha journalist. I thought you'd be of that ilk. The guy that the Princess Diana guy. That's so I've always seen you as.
That's I don't know about that guy.
I forget his name. Anyone listening, he's just this guy. He did a series of it. It was Princess Diana, and then there were others where he did like it was very gotcha journalism. Okay, but I don't know his name, man.
I feel like we have honestly gotten a little too far away from that, where now I feel like too many interviewers are like, not like podcasts are different, but it's like too many interviewers are like, you don't have to like be the guest's friend. I don't know if you saw that like Sydney.
Whoa! Not this. What's about to happen?
No, did you see that Sydney Sweeney interview?
I did not. No.
I just saw the clips that were like posted on Instagram, as like the American Eagle ad. Oh, and people were like, "Oh, this is like a Nazi thing," and the host was like trying to ask her about it in a like such a light way that she was just like, yeah, no, I like jeans. And I was like, sure, jeans are great. And then that was it.
Right. He was like, I think I got her. Like he like leaves the interview and he's just like, that is going to be on the front page of America tomorrow. I get it. I mean, like,
Dude, America Tomorrow would be a good name for like a newspaper or something.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad name for something.
I guess it's like, because podcasts to me, aside from some people who are like, oh, you just have like a natural skill, like Marin, you're like, oh, you just have a natural ability to interview.
Yeah.
And obviously that it's more than that. He's built up that skill over time. He did radio forever, whatever. But then like other ones, you're like, yeah, just talk to the person you're friends with. You don't have to do, you know what I mean? You don't have to.
No, exactly.
You don't have to expose someone who, you know, was at your wedding.
Right. It's also like we're going to talk for an hour and a half. Like whatever happens in the conversation is going to happen. And like, you know, I don't know. I think Stav is so good at it. I know you've been on his show a couple times. And I've listened to like
Stav is the one where because we did a pod for years with Greg and Brendan, but ours was like an old timey radio show where there'd be like characters and voices, like everyone was stepping on each other. It was purposely done like that. I think Stav was.
That's kind of what Cumtown was like at times.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, it was a way less successful version of Cumtown.
Okay, yeah.
Like
there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yours is not. I'm sure it's not anywhere near the bottom of the less successful Cumtowns.
No, I'm talking about our old like the Rad Dude cast for what that was. The one we have now with Libby, that's whatever. Yeah. We've tried to have a theme which we've sort of strayed upon, but it doesn't matter. But Stav was the first person I think that I was like, oh, you're really good at this. Mm-hmm. Like you're whatever this is.
You're good at it.
You're really good. And I don't think I ever gave this any merit as a skill whatsoever.
Maybe this is just what he said, but it seems like he doesn't either. But he's incredible at it.
He just has like a really good gift of gab, and he answers like very good probing questions. He's able to rip. He's excellent at this.
He's one of those people who also like can talk to anyone. Yeah. Because are you guys good friends like outside of podcasts?
Bitter enemies. No, yeah, we hate each other terribly. Yeah, we're friends.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I mean, I'm sure you've known each other for
we are colleagues, and that's it, Adam.
But he's one of those.
Call him Mr. Halkias.
But you wouldn't know like if somebody's not like there because I know people that have been on the podcast. Yes. They're like that's the only time I've met him, and it's like. You wouldn't be able to tell. That's how good he is at it.
He's very open. He's very comfortable. He's very good at making you comfortable. He has a very infectious laugh. He's a generous laugher. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. I mean, some people I've been accused of laughing. I'm just like I was talking about this on Sagos where I'm like dumb enough where like I'm right at laughter every time. I'm just like not smart. You know what I mean? Where I'm just like it's kind of funny. Like it all is kind of funny to me. So I'm right there. But like, Stav is very, because a lot of people, they'll just be so stone-faced. And you're like, is this good radio? Like, they're just a blank expression. And you're like, where are we going, man?
Yeah, Marin's a good laugher.
He is.
He's also, he laughs at his own jokes. Which I always really enjoy.
Me too. I like to see you having fun a little bit. Yeah. Some people, like, maybe they go too far with it, but like, I don't really care. This, you know.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, I saw Stav recently at a Halloween party. Oh, and it was all just like Brooklyn open micers and Stav.
Yeah, I mean, he's a man of the people.
he was dressed as Santa Claus and he was giving out candy and edibles.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
The one thing I saw, I wanted to ask you about Million Maniscalcos.
Oh, yeah.
So what was that?
Explain it escalated fast, man. So Tito Garza and I were on our way to do Soul Jewels in Pennsylvania the other night. Mm-hmm. And like years ago for Stick or Treat, I don't know how long ago, but like we did the Richard Lewis Quartet, which was me, Greg Stone, Eric Bergstrom, and Matt Wayne. And we were all just kind of like Richard Lewis in our own orbit and just kind of like doing his bits to nobody. And it was just kind of like the visual chaos of it. I was like, it's funny. And Stick or Treat's only like a couple minutes long, so you can get away with that for a couple of minutes, sorry. So Tito and I were driving, and like, I don't know, we're just like talking about Sebastian or as him. We're just having fun. And then like, I forget who one of us was like, it'd be fun to have like 20 people on stage as Sebastian. And I texted Ruby like right away, and Ruby was like, yeah. And you know when you're like, that's a fun idea, and then all of a sudden when it becomes in practice, and you're like,
how do I do
oh
that?
shit, I didn't expect that. So then and then the booker texted me, McCalla, like 5 minutes after that, and she was like, "You're gonna close the show." And I was like, "But what? Like we don't even have a thing." Like so then I just texted. She gave me the call sheet of everybody who's on the show, and I just texted everyone. It felt like it did feel like assembling like Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
like, it was just like all these yeses came through, and people were like super psyched about it. So then I spent way too much money on what I thought were pink sweaters from Amazon. They just sent 20 burgundy sweatshirts, and then I got 20 black wigs. And then, the night of, we didn't really have a plan. And JP McDade and Joey Dardano, like, because Joey was going to do Sebastian initially and then, like, decided to do somebody else. So I think they did the impression the best. So I was like, you'll be the prime Sebastian.
Yeah, they're good at impressions.
They're good at impressions,
yeah.
So they kind of, I think they spitballed, like, a little bit. Tito and I had an idea for the intro, and then they, like, I actually never even saw because I was just in the wings, like, talking to whoever, and then we all kind of came out. But the idea was that, like, Sebastian, like Sebastian would come out and he would be like, I can't be everywhere. The boomers, there's too many boomers throughout this country, so I've hired AI. And he would just introduce more and more. He'd be like, wait, and then more. He'd be like, I want to introduce you to the team. And then all these Sebastians would trickle out, and then it was just 20 people on stage dressed the same, all just imitating Sebastian. And no one probably picked up on it, but everyone was doing the same bit. I don't even know if it's one of his bits, but it was just like that he hates DoorDash.
I don't know if that's one of his bits.
I don't know
Everybody
either.
has a doorbell bit, but
it seems like something he'd be against.
Oh, yeah.
Or he'd be, so everyone was just doing their own DoorDash bit in a circle, and then it just ended in a mess. But I don't know how much of it. Because like I said, I was just kind of in the back with like I was bringing up the rear of the Sebastians. But it was awesome to have like something like that go from like in like 6 days happen, and then he saw it. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, like put it in an Instagram story or whatever, which was awesome.
Yeah,
it was great.
It was like Into the Spider-Verse, but with Sebastian.
Yeah, exactly.
Into the Sebastian verse.
Yeah, man, it was. I was great, man. I was so happy that it happened the way it did.
That's so cool. Do you know him?
No, we've never met.
Yeah.
We've no. I have no.
I didn't know if there was like an Italian mafia, like if there was like an Italian
pipeline.
Mafia.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys
I
all,
think
like,
he'd be out of it by now. I don't think he'd still be like checking in. No,
I mean I know Sandler. Like we're at the same meeting.
Right. Yeah. Well, you guys are so much more organized than we are. You guys are bonded by such adversity that you've teamed up for years.
No, there could be nothing harder than being an Italian American.
Nothing is harder.
Nothing.
That's why we have so much pride.
Yeah.
Nothing is more difficult, Adam, and I'm glad as a Jew you admit it, because we've suffered more than you'll ever know.
And that's the clip. No, but that's cool. So you went to school for architecture, right?
I did.
Why? I feel like I've probably heard you talk about it on podcasts, but
for sure, man. Yeah. I went. So my aunt was. This is the truth. My aunt was 16. Or not my aunt. I was 16. My aunt was on her deathbed. She asked what I was gonna do to make the family proud. I got nervous. I had saw 3 Men and a Baby the night before. Tom Selleck, I believe, is an architect in it, and I just said architecture, and then she lived, and they never forgot. So that is how I walked into college, knowing I wanted to do comedy, but my whole family is relying on me being an architect. And everybody there, I remember the first day, because I grew up in North Jersey where like education's not really paramount. Mm-hmm. It's actually like looked down upon, so I didn't know that people really enjoyed learning in school. So when I got to college, like everyone was pretty psyched to become an architect. And I was like, oh, is no one here for the reason I'm here?
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
Dude, I don't think I grew up in like central Pennsylvania. I also don't think I knew that people liked school and learning until, and then I went to UVM, which is like I didn't know until I was in college. Like even midway through college, I didn't know that like, oh, there's people that like school And that's like, they're like having fun. Like the same way that I'm like doing stand up, they're like, oh yeah, no, I like writing papers. It's really fun.
Yeah, this
like,
rules.
Yeah.
I know. I couldn't believe it. Like,
Yeah.
I thought it was like it was like, oh, we have to go here because you can't just have us roaming the streets.
Right.
But like, no, man. I mean, I remember like there was one moment specifically in high school where like this kid, something happened with a test, and he got so fired up about it, and like he was in the wrong. But like he was like a varsity football player. He was in the wrong. He's screaming at the teacher, and he's like, "You don't know me, motherfucker! You don't know me!" And like the whole class is like, "That's right! Like you don't know him." You know what I mean? Like everyone should have been like, "I mean, this kid is like clearly mentally ill." But that's what I mean. Like it was like a reverse environment.
Yeah.
Where like they were like, "Yeah, you should hit the teacher." Like I don't know why would he make you take a test? Like
It sounds like we had.
that's mean.
It sounds like we had similar high school environments.
Yeah, probably, man. Yes.
Yeah.
So wait, where's UVM?
UVM, Vermont.
Oh, okay.
I saw you perform there.
Oh, that's right, with Michelle years ago.
I think that was my senior year. Yeah.
Wow.
With Michelle Wolf. Yeah.
Damn, man.
You guys came up together. You and Michelle.
Yeah, Michelle and I started. Michelle might have started a little after me, but Michelle and I started around the same time. So I only knew. Yeah, she was a little after me. I only knew her because for whatever reason, I don't think it was nerves as much as just like diet and circumstance. I would always fart next to her, and it became like a running thing. And she was just like thought it was hilarious. And
she was like, "Come on the road with me."
I mean, Michelle was always like, she was really funny. At first, Michelle was like doing very like goofy, absurd. Like I liked her because she was so goofy and absurdist. And then eventually, like Michelle figured out how to write for herself when it came to like larger issues, and that became like really like, oh wow, you're really good at this.
Yeah.
And so she never like, we always were like pretty close, and then when she like kind of blew up, she was like very good and like generous about taking me on the road and stuff.
That's cool. You guys still tight?
Yeah. Michelle and I talk like pretty often.
So was Mos Def at your wedding?
Because
I remember it was like, this might have been like 2 years ago. So you were like, yeah, I hope Mos Def is at my wedding.
No,
sorry, Yassine Bey, if you're listening.
He did not show. No, they didn't make it, but yeah, I don't know. I never really met him.
Yeah, I almost met Talib Kweli once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I was outside the comedy. I went to a show at the Comedy Cellar, and I was talking to Godfrey. It was me and my friend Carlos were talking to Godfrey and like some other people after, and, like the Blue Note's across the street. And I guess Talib Kweli had just done a show there. And he's like upstairs at the Blue Note. And he calls out across the street, "Hey, yo, Godfrey, come over here." And then everyone that we're like with starts walking over there. And then me and Carlos are like, "Oh, I guess it's time for us to go." And then so we leave.
No, I think it's time to interject.
Yeah, and then as we're at the subway, we're like, oh, we probably could have like gone in if
definitely.
We definitely could have just like gone in, hung out with Talib Kweli.
Yeah, of course, man. So because you're not being too invasive and like pretty cool, and you're with Godfrey, you'll be like, yeah, I assume these guys are fine.
Yeah,
just don't do anything too stupid.
I probably would have done something too stupid.
Really?
No, probably not.
I don't think you're.
I'm pretty cool. I'm all right.
Yeah, man. You might have. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think you would have done.
I think Carlos
anything.
is the more likely one.
Carlos, do I know Carlos?
Carlos Noya. I used to do that show. My friend Carlos sings opera with him.
Oh, the one in Park Slope, or
no? That was with my friend Carson.
Ah, yes.
That was no, I don't think I ever had you on that one.
No,
it was at BCC. So. Yeah. But anyway, who's the most famous person you've ever met?
I don't know if it's like a meeting. Samuel L. Jackson, but it wasn't really a meeting. I saw him on the street years ago in New York, and I don't know. I thought it was really funny if I told him the movie Basic changed my life. It's some like movie about the military that's like a blip on his radar that he did that I don't think it was like too well received. I just thought it'd be like really funny to say that to him, and like he was like, oh, man, like I like in my head he was like, shut the fuck up, but I don't think he said that to me as much as he just kind of like rolled his eyes.
Like I think because you you were like, oh, this would be a hilarious bit because he'll think that movie changed my life, and he was like, this guy's doing a bit.
Yeah, I thought I was like, this will be funny. The movie that, like, he probably like was away from his family for months to film and was kind of a flop that like maybe people make fun of him about.
One of the worst moments of his career.
Yeah, and he's just like wandering the streets of New York City alone, and I'm like, basic changed my life with like a painted smile on my, so clear, not even hiding that I'm doing a bit. And he like glared at me in a way where I was like, even like when I was younger, like, you know, when you're younger, you're able to do more of those things because you have less empathy.
Yeah.
So you're just able to kind of like, put someone else at the butt of the joke without feeling anything. But he glared at me in such a way that I was like, I feel bad.
Well, he's an incredible actor.
Of course.
He knew what he was doing. He knows
he's doing fine.
He can
he bounced back.
Yeah. Basic didn't destroy his career. But so you started, like, you studied architect. Did you like architecture? Like,
yeah,
are you good at drawing?
I'm good at drawing, but once you get to like people that actually want to do this for a living, I was like, oh, I'm just somebody else who's like kind of good at drawing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When you meet real people that you're like, oh, you're like a savant.
That's how I felt in like my. That's how I felt in college too. Like in my like film, and I studied film and English, and like in those classes, just being like, I thought I was like good at poetry because in high school I would like write poems in English classes and be like, these are so good. Yeah, and then I like met people that were like, I want to study poetry because it's my favorite thing in the world.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I guess I actually kind of suck at this.
Yep, totally. It's exactly what it was. I had no interest in architecture. Didn't even. Excuse me, sorry. I had a knish on the way over. I ate it real fast, and then I have this water.
My people's food.
Yeah, I thought I would appropriate for you. Yeah. I thought you could smell it on my breath and feel more comforted.
And in Zoran's New York, isn't that what's important?
Oh, the knish shops will be closed. It'll be all mosques and odes to the hijackers. That's the clip.
I've been trying this new bit about how like I'm just so excited for Thanksgiving to like tell all my Jewish family from Texas that about like just make up stuff that Zoran's doing to destroy the city.
Oh, it's great, man. I wanted to take a picture because there is a mosque like right next to our apartment. I did want to, but I like chickened out to do it on Instagram, and I just wanted to be like, yeah, this wasn't here the day before.
It is hard with stuff like that
because people really feel that way and do that, and especially a lot of comedians now, so you're just lumped in with them. Mm-hmm. You can't. That's what sucks about whatever. I mean, I don't know. I think the moment kind of reached a tipping point. It's on the downside, even if we don't know it. I might be just saying that, hopefully, but like and maybe it's just like, well, we're past that, and that's fine too. But like ironic racism or ironic whatever that is. Whatever note, like, I'm not just saying for the sake of, but like, if you can hit that perfect note, that's gone. But I guess it's probably a good thing that I think,
especially in writing, so on social media, especially, I think that like it can still kind of work like in stand up and podcasting, like even then it's like risky, it's like it can, people can be like, oh, I hear your voice, your voice, I know how you're saying this, where like so, and especially because social media is like the most like hate filled place.
Totally. Writing is cold. There's no now you're right.
I always think of this. Did you ever watch Community?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, there's I think it was Donald Glover had a line where he was like, there was a time for subtlety, and that time ended with Scary Movie or something like that. It was. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I always think about that quote, especially like I was thinking about that with the movie Don't Look Up, because a lot of people hated it and they were like, oh, it's not subtle, like it's so on the nose, and I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, that's like not everything. Like people are dumb. Like we really sometimes you have to hammer people over the head with what something is about.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think you definitely learned that with stand up. Definitely, like some stuff you have to be so overt to the point where you're like, oh, I can't believe I have to spell this out to this degree. But people need that, especially if you want to get to like the greater good that is your punchline or whatever. Right. But it depends. I mean, like because you'll go to Brooklyn and you're like, well, you have to be, or not even Brooklyn, but just smarter comedy rooms where you're like, oh, I can't be too overt because they don't want that, and they'll do the figuring out if you just provide them the subtlety, and then the middle of the road sort of crowds, like you have to be over, but you need both to figure out like where the perfect balance is for like the bit or whatever.
What's your favorite place that you've like ever performed outside of New York?
So funny, full burp, right back into Tom Brokaw. and hilarious. Denver is
Denver's dope.
always reliable, man. And it's a testament to Denver and Minneapolis. I think are my favorite too. They're just it's the clubs themselves. It's just Acme and Comedy Works to me are the best two clubs in the country.
I've never been to Minneapolis, but I do love Denver.
Cool town.
Yeah. So you wanted to do stand up like forever? Like when did you start feeling like that was what you wanted? Like as a kid?
Kind of. I mean, yeah, my family every year. So one of my aunt's best friends from college was a server at Rascals Comedy Club in Jersey, which at the time was like a pretty big deal. So we would go once a year when I was a kid, and I was like amazed by them. I thought it was so cool. I didn't really understand what it was, and my mom. I was never like a really outgoing, like gregarious kid by any stretch, but my mom loved George Carlin and like Richard Jeni. Like she really loved comedians. Mm-hmm. So I was exposed to it. And then when I was in middle school, she took me to see Carlin. We were doing a family vacation in Vegas. And she took me to see Carlin in Bally's. And it was just so cool to sit there with like my mom. It was a room full of people that, you know, all walks of life, all ages, all whatever, all laughing at the same shit. It just felt very like, oh, this thing has an ability to sort of like shrink the world, and I like that quality about it.
Yeah, I love that about stand-up too. I think that it can be hard when you're in like a room that is very homogenous to feel like it's because the whole thing, like what's great about comedy is how it can like bring people together, and you don't have to be this. So it's like weird when it's like, oh, everyone in here looks the same.
Yeah. So
that's why I gotta stop performing at my synagogue.
For all kinds of reasons. They've actually written me several emails about your lewd behavior. I think in high school, I mean, I think twofold where it was that, and then it was also like I loved, like Chris Rock too. I loved that they were telling the truth. Mm-hmm. It seemed like not like. I mean, they were funny, but they were hitting upon things that were real to them, and making it funny and charming. And I think growing up in my household, where like lies were just ever present. I mean, it was like my growing up was like a corrupt government. Like it was just so there was something about that was very attractive to me. And in high school, I was obsessed with Mr. Show. I loved. So I was writing in high school, but I wasn't writing stand-up as much as I was just like, I was writing like, I don't know, like dumb sketches that I was never going to make. It was just the act of writing I really enjoyed. And then I came out of my shell a little bit in senior year of high school. So that's when I was like, oh, I think I'd like to, whatever capacity that is, perform to some degree. So which, you know, when I got to college wasn't the perfect marriage because architecture is a very serious, you know, isolated profession. And I was trying to do bits. Like that's why like that first project that I did was like it was a joke, and I almost like got kicked out of school.
What is? I remember hearing you talking about before, but you want to share what the first project was?
I really I didn't, especially going from senior year of high school, a public high school in Jersey, where it's like everyone was like, yeah, do whatever you want. You know what I mean? You're gonna graduate. We don't care. Like, so we had to design a building where on the ground floor was retail space and the top floor were apartments, and I wanted to be a comedian. My idea was a store where you rent old people for parties, which I still think is a sound business model, by the way. Of like, yeah, parties are boring, and like, what about a guy who's there? And you're like, what was it like when the oven came out? Like, you know, like that's exciting to me. But and then they lived in the apartments above, and you weren't supposed to focus on that. You were supposed to focus on the architecture part of it. So I worked on that kind of in secret. I probably was telling like my friends or whatever, and they were laughing. And then I didn't know we had to do a presentation at the end of our semester. So I went to hand in my drawings. The professor was like, you got to hang them up. Everyone does a presentation in front of the whole class of visiting architect and the dean. And I was like, yeah, all right. I started, and I had no public speaking ability at the time. I was nervous. I was just like saying whatever. I very vividly remember me saying, here's where we weigh the old people for pricing their vegetables, so that is how we treat them. To shock and horror, it ends in complete silence. And this is true. Nobody said a word. And then the visiting architect, who was very, very cool and funny, walked up. And I didn't get around to the apartment. I focused too much on the business end of things. So I didn't get around to finishing the drawings. So the apartment, there was just areas of empty space, and I was like, I'll make that's a bedroom, that'll be a wrestling ring, like, just kind of like trying to like enhance the bit in any way that I could. And he at the end of it, he was like, I just don't know if it's a good idea to put the bedroom so close to the wrestling ring because it will bother the old people when they're trying to sleep. And I was like, wow, he's funnier than me.
That's fun. It was kind of similar, not quite as embarrassing, but like I minored in music technology and business. That's one minor.
Wow.
It's one minor, so it's music technology and music business,
okay,
which are two separate things.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be one minor. But so I just had to take two music business classes, and one of them we had like our like final project was like basically like sort of like mock planning like a festival. And like one of the things in it is like you write out like sort of like little bios of like what would the demographics be. And that was the part I went the hardest.
Yeah,
like
of course.
Just making that part hilarious. And then I saw like some other people's and I was like, oh shit, that's like a legit festival you could like actually do. There was a kid in my music business classes who was like at the time he was managing this very popular rap group in Burlington, and I'm just like, yeah, I like music, but I'm bad at it. So I was like, maybe I could do this.
What was the rap group?
They're called 99 Neighbors.
Whoa,
Have you heard of them?
No.
Oh yeah, I don't know if they're still around.
Were they good?
They're fine. You know Brockhampton?
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a similar thing.
All right, I get it.
But yes, it was like a similar thing. I was just like I was getting laughs.
Do you remember any of the bios?
Oh no, I know I had one guy who like he loves Quentin Tarantino, hates Steven Spielberg, but has never seen one of his movies, like something like that.
Cool.
Because I remember like just going hard at that, and I got a C. And
of course.
And I had another thing for one of my Italian classes where I did like we had like
Italian technology and Italian business.
No, it was just like we had to do a project that was like making a video, and so I like made a short film, and my Italian was so bad that I barely spoke in it.
Fun.
And so I got a C, and my partner got an A, and then I was like, but I like wrote and edited the whole thing, and it's funny. And she was like, you had like 2 lines. The class is to speak Italian.
Right? Yeah. They're like, that is the class.
Yeah.
These beats are great, but yeah, I think it's that moment, especially when you want to do comedy, and if you're not so much like the class clown performer type, you're just looking for any possible moment to sort of release that feeling inside of you, and usually those moments, like where it's like a little bit of an open door of like, hey, you can write the bios, and you're like, oh, like you're like, wow, that's a meal to me, you know?
Oh, I remember in my bar mitzvah speech. That's
right.
Like having like I remember because you do like, oh, I want to thank like my parents and whatever, and so I had my brother's best friend Zach Cohen. He was there, and I remember this killed at my bar mitzvah. I said, I want to thank Zach Cohen. Wait, why do I want to thank Zach Cohen? And then I just moved on.
Right.
And like it was like, and I was like, it was like, oh, clearly that's all I want to do. I don't care about I don't even remember. Like I know so many people are like, I remember my exact Torah portion and what it means to me. And I'm like, I don't fucking know.
And for the record, you did that voice, not me.
Anthony did that voice. He's a ventriloquist, and also it's magic. I don't stand by it.
I think Adam should be arrested.
Zoran said I could do it.
Of course he did.
Oh, but you didn't start doing stand-up till you were 26, right?
Yeah, something like 27, 28. Well, I was the same, man, where I just wasn't ever class clown. I was never the funniest. I was, to the people around me that knew me, they were like, you're really funny, but it wasn't anything that ever stretched beyond that. I never thought... And to your the title of this podcast, probably a little bit of what's plagued me is I've never really seen myself as I think I never did it because I never was like I have so much broad appeal that everyone will laugh. Because in high school, even like I would be like 6 people think I'm hilarious,
right?
And everybody else is like vaguely confused by me. So when I got to college, like that 6 expanded a little bit. Obviously, college is different from, whoever you're just like in town with in high school.
Yeah.
But like even then I was like, I don't think I've never had such mass appeal that I could stand up there and do this. But yeah, eventually you're just like, I worked in an architecture firm for like a couple years. And in college, I did fall in love with architecture because you're doing theoretical projects. It's fun. It's creative. You're with your friends. It's all those things. But then I worked in an office for a couple years, and it was just like, you're doing the minutia. You're doing the entry level. And I think that's how you know when you really love something. If you're like, oh, I'm willing to go through these things to get to where I want to go. And I knew I wasn't, and I was like, oh, it's always going to nag me. I'm always going to have this thing. I should do stand-up. So I moved to New York like 27 or 28. I'm trying to remember, somewhere around then. I did improv for like a year, and then that wasn't. I think the writing element, not writing, was. I realized the part I really enjoyed was writing more than I did performing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and improv wasn't scratching that itch, even though improv was great. And also, too, I didn't love the idea that I could let everybody down. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's like stand-up, it's like I can take the licks, but like there's 6 people behind me that are like, Jesus Christ, like, here we go again. Like,
were you bad at improv?
No, I was really good.
Okay.
I was good in practice.
Yeah.
I was, but then when it came time to actually having an audience there, I had too many nerves to get off the line. And then I felt the ire. The whole thing with improv is patience.
Yeah.
And like in practice, in class, I could have tremendous patience because there was no darting eyes at me. But performing in front of people, I felt, even if it wasn't there, I felt the sting of them. So it would cause me to speed up, or it would cause me to force jokes that I shouldn't have been forcing. And it just wasn't, it was like, I don't like the stress and anxiety it was giving me. And so I started doing mics, and then it just kind of went from there.
So when did you get over that, like that stage fright or like fear of public speaking?
I think it took, I think in the years between like college to when I started stand-up, I had become more outgoing. So I think just like doing bits in public, you know what I mean? I think those kinds of things, like trying to make yourself the life of a party. I really just wasn't doing comedy. That's all it was. Like I mean, and people that might have known me in those years and stuck with me, I think in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But like other people would have been like, he's too much. And it's like, they were right. I was just a person not doing comedy when they were supposed to. So I was trying to do comedy everywhere, which, I mean, everybody knows that's the worst person on the planet.
It's like a dog that hasn't gotten to go like for a walk. And
yeah,
it's just like,
exactly.
It has to get that energy out somehow, so it's just running around the house. And
exactly,
it's like,
man. But you're at a house party and everyone's mad.
Yeah.
And like you're in a relationship and she's like, Jesus Christ, just be sincere, whatever it is.
I've had that
like,
so many times.
Yeah, God. So I think, but during that process, I was becoming more and more outgoing. And then I think the first couple of years of doing stand-up, I was just imitating people who were really comfortable on stage and sort of mimicking that as a way to, like, I think, fool myself and my body. And then after a couple of years, I was like, oh, no, I think it's, like, starting to kind of take and, and it's just sort of you get more and more comfortable as you go. You don't ever reach an end point. You just get more comfortable to, hopefully, to the point where you're like, oh, I'm now as close as to, for me, I've always wanted to be as close as to who I am off stage and on stage. Even if that is a less entertaining version, it's more authentic. And I think that is more appealing. That authenticity is more appealing to people than just like, oh, you're being lively and entertaining for us. I think someone who's just like, oh, I liked you for the night, that's what they want. But someone who's like, oh, I'm going to become your fan, they want the real guts of you. Even if that isn't necessarily like widespread appeal for the evening.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely true. I always think about it like what I'm like striving for on stage is like making the audience laugh in the same way that like I could like make my friends or like my girlfriend laugh, like doing bits.
Totally, man.
You know,
yes,
like just make how it's like how like you are when you're just like high with your friends and like, just hanging out. Like, yeah. But who were those people that you were emulating?
Nick Turner was somebody early on. He's in LA now, but he was someone who, as a performer, like him and Sean Patton, I was more emulating like the comfort that they had. I couldn't. They're big performers.
Sean is somebody who like he comfort is like such a perfect way to describe like, him on stage.
Yeah, it was more just like the energy, the comfortable energy they had. But I knew they were bigger performers than I was. But if I could just like, if I could have a smidge of what they have, even if it's like it took me like a year or two to take the mic out of the stand, but
really?
But just like the way they moved a little bit with the mic, like Nick especially with the mic in the stand, I was like, okay, I think I can mimic that to fool people for like. I mean, I wasn't even doing shows at that point, but I was like, I think I could fool people for 3 minutes at an open mic, and then that gets to like, maybe I could fool people for 6 minutes at a bar show, and then eventually you shed off those layers and become more and more yourself, and then it's just that endless journey into like just the nooks and crannies of exactly who you are.
Do you remember the first joke that you did?
Yeah, the first joke that I did, because I had done stand-up in Jersey before I started in New York. I had done it a couple times in Jersey. Because we were doing sketch at the time in Jersey, me and Greg Stone.
Did you guys grow up together?
We did. We went to high school together. And Greg was the other guy. He was the class clown. Everybody's, he's like...
That makes sense.
He's that guy, yeah. And Greg was like the one guy who was like, you're really fun. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, thanks,
And was he did he start stand-up earlier?
He did. He started, like, Greg's been doing it like over 20 years around that mark. He started like when I was in college.
How old are you?
I am 26. I'm 43.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so Greg started when I was in college, and when I after college, I bounced around. I lived in Hawaii. I lived back home. I lived in Paris. And like mid-20s, I moved back to Jersey, and that's when moved back to Jersey before I went to Paris. Sorry, that's when we started doing sketch, and I did a little bit of stand-up. And sorry, this is very long-winded to say, but the first joke was just about Jesus coming back and how I forget the exacts of it, but like how when people are gone for a while and come back, it's like Michael Jordan on the Wizards, where it's like they're never as good as they once were. So like his miracles, like he'll turn water into wine cooler. And like people are just like, I don't want a Zima. Zima was I don't know if it was popular at the time, but it was a drink. So that was and like people were like that they're like that's something. I don't like it's not like great or anything, but they were like, hey, like you came out of the gate with like a bit.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing. Yeah. So I kept that in my hat as like, okay, that's interesting. But yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah. Do you feel like starting a little bit later, like, so you were like 20, 27, 28, like when you
somewhere
started?
In there, yeah.
Do you think that like gave you like more of a perspective that you were coming into stand-up with?
A little bit. I mean, I think most of the people are in their early 20s. It's like
I started when I was 20. Yeah.
Right. I think it's relative perspective. I mean, you're 27 or 28-year-old. You're an idiot. You don't know anything. Yeah. But compared to like exactly.
But I'm 29, so now I'm a genius.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Now you're a weathered guy.
Yeah.
I mean, but when you're at open mics and everyone's like, 21, 20, whatever, like, fresh out of college, you seem like an elder. Mm-hmm. Like, wow, this guy like really knows himself. And it's like, no, I'm 40. I still don't really, you know what I mean? I'm closer, but but it did give me some perspective. Honestly, though, the more that it gave me was actual stories to draw from and life experiences. So I could speak with a little. Not a ton, but a little bit of like actual lived wisdom, which I think is helpful, especially when you're going on the road and like everybody in the audience is in their like 40s and 50s, and like you're trying to be like, here's what dating's about, guys. You know what I mean? And they're like, why the fuck would you know anything? Yeah. So I think a little later, at least internally, it gives you like a little bit of gravitas actually to be like, hey, I think I'm more aligned. I can be a little more aligned with you guys. Especially because I'm coming from open mics with 19-year-olds who are just like, this is what sex is about. And you're like, you don't know anything. Yeah.
This is what sex is about. I've done it twice.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
How long have you been doing comedy as like your full-time job?
Probably for like 12, 13 years, something like that.
Okay, so pretty early on in your what was the thing that got you like to being like full-time comedian?
So I was lucky, and I think it was that I started a little bit later, and like I had been weirdly writing for a while. Yeah. So and not that there was much of a skill set there, but I had acquired a little bit where I was like, oh, I'm on first or second base already, kind of thing. So I got stuff pretty quickly where I got JFL New Faces, I think when I was 3 years in.
Wow, yeah.
And that went terribly because I was very much 3 years in.
You're the third person that I've had on the podcast to talk about JFL and how terribly it went.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, Montreal's you don't realize this at the time, but like Montreal it's French Canadian. It's a very tough town to do. Even now, like I've been to JFL a bunch after that, and it's like I don't ever do amazingly well. Like you walk around there and you go, this is what the people are laughing at. It's like it's a bee on a. It really is, man.
But you lived in Paris. You should have been able.
That was. It didn't translate, man. But that went bad. But then I got like a real comedy job pretty early on, and it was enough money where I could stop working at the Apple store, and I was like starting to feature on the road a little bit at the time. So between that money, which bought me like a year, and the beginning to feature, and then I got another job, which was just like a work from home kind of thing. So I was like, I started making money in comedy pretty early, and then I think I got TV stuff like 7 or 8 years in. It all kind of like worked itself in the same way where I didn't have to get a job outside of comedy after like 3 or 4 years in.
And you haven't since?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And what was the JFL experience like? I want to hear more about that.
Well, I mean, it was the first or second year they were doing unrepped.
And so you were unrepped.
I was unrepped, and the venue was really bad. It was a long bar where like there wasn't a separation between like the stage. So there was audience. I'll try to explain this. There's audience up front, but then it's a very long bar. So you had the industry sitting behind the audience. But the industry was far enough away, and I've been a victim of this too, where they're far enough away where they can't hear us up there, but they could. So they're just talking the whole time in the back and not really paying attention. So I went up first. I had like kind of like a soft kind of set, and I think Nick Mullen might have went up after me. Me, Nick, and Ahmed Baruka all had the same set. Like just like kind of like whatever, like a 5 or a 6. And then Mackie went up and destroyed to a point where he left afterwards. The industry followed him out. I forget who went up after him. It was either like, it might have been Annie or Joe List to like nothing. And then Dave Waite, Letterman.
Oh, okay.
It was just, I just remember Tommy Pope went up last. And Tommy's dad was there. It like came from like Philly to see him. And it like, I don't even think they clapped when they said his name. Like it was horrible. And we all of us, except for Mackie, who was the belle of the ball. Like Howie Mandel, literally there was one point I watched Mackie in a corner being like, Howie Mandel's just like gesticulating him, talking to him with like, and Mackie's just kind of like, and the rest of us are like, what do we do now? Like, I think comedy is over for us. We stayed up all night, got hammered. We're all like, should we rob a bank? Like, what the fuck do we do? So it was pretty bad. I mean, it's good. Those are good. They're painful, but like that, I think that failure there is what made me double down on writing more and getting up more to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna stop until I get like, at the time the Comedy Central half hour was really big, so that was kind of the goal.
And then you did get that, right? Yeah, and you did Conan.
I did, Colbert and the half, all. And I got past to the cellar within like the same week or something. It was like a kind of a crazy week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I had a staph infection. I remember that.
Really?
Yeah, I could barely walk. Yeah, Michelle is the one who got me in there. Michelle was like, Jesus Christ.
Wait, how did you get a staph infection?
I lived with Greg and James Manor. It was just going around the apartment. Yeah, it was just 3 guys living in the same space.
It shouldn't be legal.
No, you're right. Actually,
that's as a guy who lives in an apartment with 3 guys.
Yeah, it should not be. Yeah, it should not be legal. Yes. I don't know if Zoran has plans for that, but that should be part of his platform.
That's crazy. So what? Did you ever audition for SNL? Or
no, it never.
A packet?
I think I might have submitted a packet or 2, but there was never. I literally just wanted it to. I have such little ambition. Like the Comedy Central half hour was like, I failed and I wanted to prove to myself that I could succeed. You know, that's probably the most ambition I've ever had. But real ambition, I just wanted, when I started, I was like, oh, it'd be cool to get on UCB's Whiplash.
Right.
And then I did that, and I was like, well, I don't know what to do now. I've never been like someone who I didn't even think I could do this. Like, I mean, when I was younger, I was like, I can't believe I wear jeans. Like, I have such low self-esteem. SNL was never ever within the realm of possibilities.
Wait, what do you
me.
mean you couldn't believe you could wear jeans? What, like you didn't? Think you could
jeans
pull them
felt
off?
like yeah, I don't know. They felt like people who were adults and confident. I would just wear my squishy pants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
And then what? Okay, I feel like even though I know all about like your crazy family, I feel like it's such a wild story. I feel like we have to like get into it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, my dad was a made man in an organized crime family. He died when I was 7 months old, and I have no connection. I was kept very much away from them, but yes.
Do you feel like would you say like your family's been like supportive of you doing comedy?
Yeah, I think they were just shocked because they're all like, I grew up a household of Italian women. They all like, I never talked. I never had a chance to talk. Yeah. So I think they were just like, what? You want to do what? Like, we didn't even know you spoke. And you think you want to speak in front of people?
Maybe that's why all you do is speak.
Of course it is. Yeah. I was just surrounded by lies and noise.
Yeah.
So it's like, all I want to do is say the truth to people.
Right.
But like, not in a boring way.
What? But do you feel like there was like any feeling of like from your mom? I was like, wow, this is better than the mob.
Yeah, of course. Anything was.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's told me that. Like, that's the closing joke in the show.
Yeah.
Where like she like literally was like, as long as you didn't turn to your father, your life was a success. And then she did say, that's why when you told me you wanted to be a New York City comedian, I wasn't devastated.
Right.
And yeah. No. She's like thrilled that I just didn't go down his route.
Yeah. Does she still live with you? You and your wife?
What do you, my mom?
Didn't
oh,
she
no,
live
she
with
never
you?
lived with us, no. She lives close. She lives in North Jersey. She lives in like a senior living spot with a bunch of other like ex-wives of people that were in the life. It was pretty funny.
You don't have kids, do you?
No, we're in talks.
Yeah.
My wife and I the talks are heating up.
Yeah.
But we don't.
Shams is going to report it.
You were trying to get it in before the trade deadline. So yeah, look out.
So why aren't you more famous?
It's all self-induced.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, well, I think with comedy, it's like, comedy is it's just tied to who you are as a person. So any like little flaws that you have as a person are magnified by you being up there alone and everyone staring at you for like an hour. So, whatever little things that I haven't like fine-tuned to the exact degree, like, those are the things that I think prevent you from going over the edge.
Yeah. What do you feel like those are for you?
Well, I think early on, and this has kind of gone for me, especially with stand-up. Early on, I just was, I just wanted them to like me. I wanted not so much that as much as like I wanted them to like my jokes, so I wanted to present them as like enthusiastic as I could and as warm as I could. And then a lot of like the biggest note I got early on was like, you're so likable, which turned into like, I have to be likable, even though what I was writing wasn't really born out of that place. Most of what I would always write was like born out of some kind of frustration. And I never was conveying that on stage. A lot of that's just like, I'm not such a performer to be able to accurately do that. So I think there was like a little bit of a mismatch within like what was the material and the way it was being presented. And I would, you come up hosting shows and doing bad, like doing like really like you got to survive up there kind of shows. And like, at least for me, like it was like, I have to do well because I have to work, So I don't think I gave myself the space to, I guess, be alienating a little bit, or not even alienating, but like not worry so much about it going well for the sake of like being asked back.
Do you feel like that's changed?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm way less likable now, but I'm much more who I am.
Well, I do feel like you have like this inherent likability to you.
I think that's what they meant, and I don't think I could see that as much as like I was like, oh, it's the more overt likability, and it was fine. It was just a matter of like, I it was just too much. I think.
Yeah.
Whereas I think now, not I think it's more authentic to like who I am and the moment I'm trying to convey within the material.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that because you do have this likability, like that comes across, both on and off stage, that like it does allow you to do like darker and edgier material.
Yeah.
No, what were you gonna say?
No, please go ahead.
No, I insist.
I honestly don't think it was anything that was going to add value. I think I was just going to reiterate. You know what I mean? You ever do that where you're like, well, that was a waste of time?
Yeah, just be like, and now I will say what you said.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
I'll change a word or two.
Yeah. Oh, God, I do it so often. It sucks.
Yeah. So you have a podcast now?
Yeah, we have a podcast now. Welcome to Talk to Him with Greg Stone and Allison Leiby.
What is that? What do you guys do?
The idea of it was that, if you could change, society, what would be the things you would change? So we like kind of came up with this idea of like a fictional town that we're building, and
dude, back to your architecture roots.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. And it's it's kind of like, hey, if you're mayor for a day, what's your town look like? I think that's basically like that's it. It's just like a way to get out people's takes, grievances, whatever. But we're getting back on theme. We strayed from it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting back on theme. But but the other, like I think a little bit of like unknowing self-sabotage too probably hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you still self-sabotage?
Not as much. I try to slow down and become aware of it, but like some self-esteem stuff where I just like I wouldn't post on social media because I would be like, well, no one would well, no one cares. No one and I didn't realize that was a form of self-sabotage as much as I was just like, I just thought it was, even if it's reality, it's like you can't move like that.
Do you have like a social media person, or is all you?
No, it's all me.
Yeah.
And it wavers.
Yeah.
I have to take breaks because it just like, I don't like my heart rate speeds up. I'm always checking my phone. It just sucks. And like, I feel so free without it and present that I just like to, but now with the special coming out, like I have to, what I mean?
And what's the special called? What's it called?
Straight Hoopin'.
Straight Hoopin'.
Yeah, man. November 20th, 8 p.m.
You didn't straight hoop at the big Walkowski.
Well, Adam, I for the team you put together wasn't a balanced team, and I'm glad this came up finally.
I did a terrible job drafting.
You went all height, and you went no balance on the team. You picked 3 guys who were exactly the same, and the problem with that is that they didn't. When they were matched up against other 3 tall guys, they didn't have an appropriate skill set to deal with them.
No.
It's fine.
No.
I looked away, and this is kind of my fault too. I looked away to talk to my friend. I went back, and it was like game point. We were down fucking. Oh man, yeah, that was rough, man.
I wish I hadn't even brought it up because it was, as the team captain, it was fully my fault.
It's okay. I'm glad you've admitted it. But I also played a part as a player. You want your players to show up to the game. So I do think that's on me as well.
For not even playing.
You really don't want your player cross-court talking to one of their friends while eating a cheeseburger and just checking in. Because looking back, I was like, I could have brought something. I definitely could have. There was no guard play.
No.
Because you're a swing guy.
That's why I picked you. I was like, I need a point guard.
Yeah, that was on me. Yeah. That is, that's all right.
That's I airballed 2 jump shots in front of Tyler Kolek. So
that was my favorite. So he's such a nice guy.
So nice. He's really, I talked to him a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit, but then somebody went up to him and they were like, they were like, hey, like we're pretty good, right? Like legitimately, you know how comics are like so delusional and crazy. I forget who. It's so embarrassing. Like we've said other names. I won't say his name because I feel like it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, that is. I want you to say his name
to an NBA,
so I can be like, you're an idiot.
Of course,
yeah.
This is an NBA basketball player. It's almost unfathomable how good you have to be an NBA basketball player, and especially someone like Kolek, who's like, you were a first-round draft pick. So they went up to him, he's like, he's watching, he's very nice talking to everybody. He's watching, like, a couple hours go by and like, they go up to him and they were like, we're pretty good, right? And he was so diplomatic to everybody, but I think that was a thing where you're like, I can't stand for this. This is my job. And he goes, no, you're horrible. You're horrible. and that wasn't enough for the comic. And he goes, oh yeah, but no, like fundamental, like, you know, like they tried to be like, yeah, sure, but like fundamentally we're sound, right? And he was like, no, this is terrible basketball. Yeah,
that's so funny. Because like I sometimes like when I'm playing, like I have that thought, and like this is a great thing about Chris Chaney, who will like film highlights at our Sunday pickup games, that it really humbles you. Because even when I get on the highlight reel, I'm like I made that shot and the form is not awful, but I'd suck.
And in your head, you're like, I am blazing speed. In your head, you're like, I think I could dunk.
No, in my head, I'm like, that's the nicest reverse layup anyone's ever done. Yeah. And then I'm like, ooh.
And you watch the clip, you're like, do I have Lyme disease?
You're like, I did not know I was that slow.
Yeah. Oh,
how slow is everyone else that I blew by someone?
Yeah, you're like, I think Perlman might be sick.
Yeah. That's so funny. That's so funny to be like. It reminds me of the like classic like Brian Scalabrine quote. Yes. Like, I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me.
It's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially coming from like a comic where you're like, you're supposed to be like, hey, we're the same. There's a lot of people that want to do this, and we're the small pool of people that get to do this. Like, we have that in common.
Yes.
Instead of being like, I could be on the Knicks, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
That's crazy.
Did I answer all of your questions?
Did that answer all my questions?
Yeah. The why aren't you famous? All that.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get out of here or anything. I'm just.
Oh, I thought I was.
I wanted to make sure that I covered everything for you.
Yeah, I don't. You know, it's like it's one of those questions where I'm like, there's not really an answer. You know, no. And I made it the title of the podcast because there are a lot of people like you. You are somebody that I think is like a perfect example of that because you are so funny and so good at stand-up and such a good joke writer and likable too. Like that's because there are people where it's like, man, if you just weren't an asshole.
Sure.
You could be somebody, but you're not that. So I think there's not really like, you know, everybody has a different answer. So I'm
honestly, I think it used to bother me more. Now I'm completely at peace. Like,
what used to bother you? That question or
a little
just the
bit.
Fact that you're not famous?
No, I think a little bit of both. Just because I had so many people like that we respect and that are famous that would be like, you know, I spoke with a lot of praise or whatever, or would be like, you should be there, you should be that, to the point where it got to me a little bit of like, I should be. I just don't, I think, I don't know that I was ever the type of person that naturally was like, I want that. So them gassing me up almost like made me want it and like became a thing for me. But like, no, now, I mean, there was a certain point, I think maybe a couple of years ago it hit where it just became about like, let's just see how good I can get. Like the rest of it is like, hey man, if that happens, cool. But like, it really is just like, I think it just becomes like, I just want to reach my potential, whatever that means.
Yeah, I feel similarly. I mean, I think for me right now, it's like comedy's not my full-time job. So it's like that, for me, that's the goal.
Totally, man.
Is like, how can I get to that place? What advice would you have for people like in my situation or even like younger comics who are like just starting? Like,
yeah, it's hard because it's just the landscape has changed so much. So it's like, obviously you have to give some recognition to social media. You'd be a fool not to.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like that. So that has to just be in there. I don't know, whatever that means for you, but like, it's just the classics. You know what I mean? Like, just like immerse yourself in it. Like, listen to everybody's shit. Go to mics, right? Like, do all the stuff you know you have to do, but just like allow yourself grace to become yourself. Because comedy is tied to, like I said, it's tied to who you are. So as you grow, it grows, and you change, it changes. So it's like allow for that to happen. Don't be like, oh, I have to be like. Just allow yourself to become whoever you're becoming. That's the coolest part about it, and I think I'm only able to see that having done it a decent amount of time. Is that like. Comedy, especially when doing a special or recording something of any kind, you get this time capsule of like this accurate representation of who you were at that moment in your life. So you have these like markers along the way where it's not just like pictures or whatever, but you have like, this is how I looked, this is how I sounded, these were my thoughts, this is how angry I was, this is how, happy I was, whatever that is, which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, yeah. For me, I think it is just being like, hey, what could I get out of my brain before it eventually rots away?
Right. So this was like your third special or your third album, second special?
Yeah, it's tough because the first one was the half hour. The second one was like a self-produced. Yeah, it'd be the third. Yeah.
How do you feel like you've changed throughout that? Because this is something that I like to do, and I did do it with your first two albums of like listening to comics, sort of like their whole discography, in order to like see the progression. Yeah. How do you feel like you've changed throughout that?
I think coming up, especially New York mics and bar shows, I'm less tight, but I'm more comfortable within the. Like I was writing tight for the sake of like I need a joke every second. Yeah. So like it's good because you write super tight, and when you're listening to it like or watching it, you're like, wow, this is it's just relentless, and there's something about that which is kinetic and cool. But I think the first one, I think I was like a cute kid. You know what I mean? Like I was like, well, like when a baby or whatever, where like that's a cute kid. And I think the second one was like, I was becoming something else, but I was trying to hold on to whatever I was. So it was almost like watching a teenager where you're like, it's a little awkward. You know what I mean? Like where you're like, we can see who you're going to be. We could also see the boy that was inside of you. It's like, it's
a boy inside of you.
So it's just like, it was kind of, but this one feels more like, I feel more like, you're an adult. That's how this one feels to me.
I think that comes across, and I definitely felt that you did 2 tapings, right? I think I was at the late one, and you were just so comfortable. And I know that you said like the first one went great.
Yeah, the first.
So it was like you got it.
Yes, yeah.
So,
but we kept in a lot of riffs from the second show to kind of. Oh, really? Yeah, I wanted to give a sense of like you were there that night. So I think that helps to like showing the mistakes helps to be like, hey man, this was what it was like that night.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. What were there any like ideas that you had like outside of the material going to the special? Because I think about this a lot when I'm watching specials about like how it's shot, what like the background is like, what you're wearing, like.
Yeah, well, I mean, like my friend who is like an architect, my best friend from college, Connor, who he has a firm in St. Augustine called Open City Architecture. They designed the set, so I just got lucky with the people that were involved in it. Each had their own vision for what they were doing and a strong vision for it. And I think it benefits from that. Like the director, like Mike Rubinskoy, was like, from however it was shot or whatever the mood was, my set, he kind of took from whatever that was and was like, I think we kind of have like a Purple Onion feel to it, where it's just like, it feels very like.
You're talking about the Zach Galifianakis
special?
One of the best specials ever.
Yeah, and it's
so
not
good.
It's not comparable like in any way, but like the feel of like that it's loose, that like it's shot on like a just the camera is like purposely shaky. Like he left in like the shakes of the camera. It's really to give this like sense of place and like sense of like this was like a comedy is like it's a rough sport.
Yeah.
It's meant to be, so to try to echo that and then played against the backdrop of Connor's set, which was like very elegant, I think kind of works together. So it really did benefit from like everyone having like a very strong vision of what they were doing.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I think that's really important is that like everybody that like you're just assigning like, you're good at this, you're going to do this, you're good at this, you're going to do this, and because I think it's, making a special is I haven't done it, but it seems hard. Like, because it's not just you think like, doing an hour of stand up is one thing, but it's like how do you translate that to the visual medium of like of like watching something in your home versus like in the room. Totally,
man. And I think it like because you watch some where the taping is unnatural. Like everyone gets that there's an unnatural process to it. It's better now because like. You can do it in a much more sly way where it's just a couple cameras. You might manipulate the lighting a little bit, and the set doesn't always look how it normally looks. But, I mean, when I did my Comedy Central half, you're talking about like huge rigs that are like I remember people in the audience, and it's in New Orleans where like they're not used to comedy to some degree, and then like you have these are people that are just like looking at the cameras as they're going by. So like it feels sterile in a lot of ways. I think like. the way specials were done, or they can feel sterile just because it feels like, hey, this space isn't normally like this. So everyone's like a little nervous. They're very aware that it's happening. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Whereas like, I think with this, it was, I lost my train of thought. What was the question? Jesus Christ, Anthony. God, I'm so sorry. I lost my own words.
I forgot your name was Anthony. I was like, I'm not Anthony. What podcast do you think you're on?
No, Zoran is ruining New York City. Yeah, I'm trying.
What? Okay, and you also
what was it?
I don't remember, but you kind of answered it.
Okay.
But you did like a solo show like about your dad, and your family, and you kind of wove that material into this new hour a little bit. Like there was some of it in there.
Nothing.
Maybe I'm blurring my memories.
There's a lot of don't worry about that, man.
Is that something that you want to like bring it to a special at some point?
Yeah, I think the hope is that like around next year, we'll try to tape that and sell that.
Have you still been doing that? Like the live version of that?
I took, it's tough to do the whole show. You're just, you don't get that many chances to do a whole one-man show if you don't have a fan base.
Right.
Or it becomes like critically acclaimed or whatever. But, so I took all the jokes out of it. It's like about 25, 30 minutes of jokes. And I just isolated them and just sort of wrote them. I took a little bit of the serious moments out of like, exposition or whatever. And I've just been doing that as like a chunk on the road just to get them like super tight and special ready. So
what was the difference in like preparing that versus like preparing an hour of stand-up?
There's just the emphasis. I mean, you're stand up. You're just emphasizing. The first layer for me has always been like just get the jokes there. Make sure every joke can stand next to each other and they're all the same quality. And then the second layer is like, okay, make sure that go from the beginning to the end. Like what works where they are in an order in terms of like the audience is getting to know you. So it's like. In the beginning, you kind of want to introduce yourself in whatever way. This is who I am right now. And then you'll go like, for me at least, it's been like, this is who I am. This is where I come from, whether it's like family, childhood, whatever it is. And then you somehow get into like, this is how that weaves into like sort of a revisitation of who you are now. And then from there, I'd say like 20, 25 minutes in, at least for me, they know you at that point.
Yeah.
They know, like, you might want to get there quicker, whatever it is, but then you can hit them with the more challenging, more like, hey, this isn't about me anymore. Now it's about the world. But you know who I am, so like you're informed by that information with what I'm going to say now. But it's like it's kind of a straight line to me. But with the one-man show, it's like it's a full arc you got to walk them through. So it's like. It's the opposite, and I didn't know that writing it. I did my approach, and it was off, where it was jokes for like 40 minutes. But so with that, it's just like write the story without jokes first,
and then figure out where the jokes. Then
you figure out what the jokes are.
So did you have people like? What made you decide to do it as a one man show? Like, were people telling you like, oh, you got to do this as a solo show? Like,
I mean, I did it like I'd slip it into mics and stuff. It just seemed like. I could feel audiences be like, this is too complicated. Like, it just seems so callous to just do it as jokes. And I mean, initially that's why I wanted to start talking about it, just as a way to process whatever these, complicated feelings were. And now I can do it just as jokes. And I think the audience reads that I'm comfortable enough with talking about it. But at the moment I wasn't. So I had to like parse through these like serious parts of myself to get there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Did you take it to Fringe?
I did. It was horrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
It was brutal, man. I mean, it was like it's just it's a theater. And with this show, there's serious moments. You're like, this is the most theatrical I've ever been, whatever that means. But like that is a theater festival, and you are a New York stand-up, and you very much see that. There's just like a gruffness that we have in terms of delivery. Well, I mean, it's just the basis of stand-up. You want to get to the thing fastest, so you're completely taking away all the fluff for the biggest impact of the joke.
Yeah, there is something about there's like a type of stand-up which I think is like kind of what we both do that is like there is a lack of theatricality to it. Yeah. That is the theater.
That's the theater.
That is the theater of it. is that you feel like, oh, this guy's just talking to me.
Exactly.
I'm just seeing a guy talk, and that's what you want. And because a lot of the like more like alty comics that I know, they go to friends and they're like, it was amazing, it was the best thing ever, and it's definitely something I want to do. Like, but
it's that they process it very different. Where like we're acquiring this ability to make rehearsed lines seem like conversation, and especially in New York, there's such small rooms and people want so much authenticity from you that if you're doing any kind of performance, they could smell it on you and it'll turn them off. So like you build up that skill, and then going over there, it was like, oh, it's the exact opposite of that. So it was a miss in terms of like there were some sensibility issues within just natural comedic sensibilities that I hold and the people of Scotland did not.
Yeah.
And then there were just like a performance miss as well. So it was mixed reviews for sure.
Did you feel like overall it was like a good experience that you were glad you did?
Absolutely not.
Do you regret it?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, the amount of money you spend to do it put me in a hole for like 2 years. It took me like 2.5 years to get that money back. And then like it fucked me up for like 2 years. Like I bombed, or not even, but like I had hard sets for 30 days in a row. And I think if I was younger in comedy, I would be like, whatever. But like, that was too much. I had endured too many bombs already to then take on an added, I'd done it in Atlantic City Casino 10 times.
Right.
I don't need to also bomb another 30 days in a row.
It's almost like, it's interesting because it seems like JFL, like maybe that happened too early. And then Fringe was like, that happened too late.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no. And the problem too with the audiences is like, there would just be certain jokes or lines that were tried and true. You know, the ones that you go like, all right, maybe I'll give you this one. That's fine. But then the other ones you go, you have to be wrong about this, or else every audience in America is wrong, and that can't be the case. So not being able to trust them as audiences, I didn't really grow the show because I was like, I don't, even putting something in, I don't know if you like it. And even if you do like it, that doesn't necessarily, I don't necessarily believe that's a good joke as much as like it's catering to your particular sensibilities. But I'm not writing the show for the people of Edinburgh, So that was, artistically, I didn't get a lot out of it. And then financially, it ruined me. But my wife came for like 10 days and we got to, see where somebody wrote Harry Potter. I'm kind of bullshitting a little bit, but that was great. Like being there with my wife, that was fucking awesome. And like going to the Highlands afterwards, that was amazing. I don't know that it should have
came for 10 days straight.
Yeah,
nonstop.
Nonstop, man. She had a quivering orgasm for the better half of a week. That's the only reason. But yeah, some people they're built for it and it's perfect for them and that's awesome. But yeah, for me it was a problem.
What year was that? It was like
2022.
2022. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I want to ask you about like your favorite comedians, but in multiple parts.
Tony Hinchcliffe. It ends and begins there.
So who are your favorite comedians as a kid before you did stand up? Who are your favorite comedians that like got you into doing stand like when you started, and then now who are your favorite comedians?
I would say Chris Rock and George Carlin were like, and David Cross were like my runaway 3 favorite comedians when I was younger. And then, when I started, I think whatever like pretensions I had about comedy were stripped away because you realize how hard it is. So whatever like those opinions you have go away. And then I had like a real appreciation for the people that like, Chris Rock being one of, obviously when I started, Louis was like the height of Louis, and like Maria Bamford and whatever like that sort of time period of comedy was. So Knane, he was big around that period too. And then now it's like your own peers, you know what I mean? Like I'm not like Stav, Michelle, Sam. They're obviously the same ones. Like Kinane's still unbelievable, Maria Bamford as well. Like, Louis, not so much his comedy, but his outside of comedy things, like I enjoy. But yeah, those are the people that I think I listen to the most.
Is there anybody? So, you're still performing at the Cellar, like pretty regularly.
Yeah, I'm like in and out. I've always been kind of in and out, but I've never really. It's never been a thing for me as much as it's just what it is.
Yeah. But so, are there any people like when you're there where you're like excited, like, oh, this guy's on the show tonight, like I'm gonna watch their set, and, like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's more the people that I don't get to see that often that I get to check in on what they're doing. I'm trying to think of anyone that really comes to mind. The problem is, like, you see, like, I guess, like, Sean Patton would be someone from, like, I don't see him as much as I once did, so I am excited anytime I see him to see what he's doing.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's incredible. Things that he's early on, and even now, like, he makes me question, like, I feel like a kid again, where I'm like, is he writing that? Like, you know what I mean? We're like, is he just, like, making this up?
The ultimate, like, version of that, like, you don't Kyle Kinane, similarly, where, like, you don't even realize how good they are at writing jokes because it just seems like there's no way they wrote this.
Exactly.
Like, it just seems so off the cuff.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have.
They're kicking you out of the bookstore, Adam.
Watch the special and whatever else you want to plug.
It's great, man.
Yeah, that's about it. Anthony Devito.
Thank you, man.
Extra. Oh, extra. Extra.